So what we're going to do is we're going to do a walkthrough of the usability of the SIR intraday chart grid that we live stream each trading day. Before we get into the details, I want to provide some more general housekeeping information that we get questions on regarding the service. So who's this for? This is intended for intraday traders, those who have trade planning styles that are typically consisting of 1 to many trades per day. The delivery of this is via email that we send out an email pre-market, typically between 8:15 and 8:25 a.m. Central Standard Time. That goes out to our level 2 through 4 members. There's a unique Zoom meeting link that you click on in the email to view then the live stream. And that is a new link every day. So the link that you received yesterday would not work the following day. It's run during market hours, and after that, we take a screenshot of the action, and then the Zoom link is turned off until the next day. We construct the 15-minute, the information on a 15-minute chart using proprietary blend of technical tools through the thinkorswim TDA Ameritrade platform. This is something that we handcraft each morning. So there isn't a magic button that we just press and all the information pops up on there. It is, again, work that we do each morning. And the analysis is performed independently in each of the cash indexes. So for the S&P, the NASDAQ 100, and the Russell 2000, this is done pre-market to establish these precise price levels. And we do take into consideration the futures to help with this information. So it's another reason why the information is delivered as close to market opening as possible, is to be able to take into consideration when there are, and there has been, significant moves pre-market, where the, as an example, the NDX might be down 25, then it's up 100, or it's up 100, then it's down 25. So we have to try to take all that information into consideration. What we do here is we define levels, and we delineate those levels to reflect the highest probability of where the intraday price movement is likely to pause, consolidate, accelerate, continue, and reverse. And again, this analysis each morning is revisited, and it's newly formed based on all available information and data. We have created a usability guide along with a walkthrough video that is on the site. I can send that out to anyone who would like that, but it is in the daily snapshot area, and I'll show that in just a second when I'm done with the walkthrough. But there is a usability guide also available that will share similar, if not almost the exact same information as I'm sharing here today, outside of the questions that will be coming in. All right, so what we're going to do real quick here is I'm going to walk through the key components that make up the grid. So we have an upside area for each of the indexes, and then we have a downside area. We have key levels that we mark on each grid for each index. I'm going to walk through those in just a second. We have a directional bias indicator. Slim talked about a directional bias. We use a custom designed Hull moving average that we have called our reversal scout. That is this purple or red, then turning green indicator on here. So we'll talk about that here in a second. And I'm going to go through that. So what we have is, we'll start with today's price action is helpful. So if we look at the SPX, when we opened, we teetered on the breakdown acceleration trigger line. So this 3057, I'm going to move it so we can see it a little bit better, was what we indicated early in the morning as a potential support level that, if violated, would then offer a thrust to the downside. So we look for, again, the highest probability opportunities to capture some points, indicating these key levels for establishing parameters for our members to be able to work off of for their trade planning intraday. So today we opened, we teetered on that level, and then we bounced off of it, and then we went right up to the identified first area of resistance. So the pink areas we look at as an area where there's going to be some resistance, some consolidation, depending on the strength of the current price action, and sometimes we can use the reversal scout Hull moving average to get a sense of that. You may see it push through, and you can see at the end of the day it did do that through the resistance, but it acted as we would expect it to, which you would typically find with resistance areas. So it was challenged, that challenge failed, and then we rolled over, and then once we violated that acceleration line, that trigger line, the support then failed, we see it come all the way through, so fulfilled that acceleration zone. So that's the intent of this work, is that when we identify an acceleration zone, we're doing the best we can with the information that we have to forecast where there can be an acceleration. Now the odds are fairly high. We're putting together these numbers, but on average right now, the SPX is better than 65% that it gets all the way through, and better than 75% that it gets 75% of the way through. So those are really good numbers in terms of trying to capture some points. We look for at least 5 points in the acceleration zone. So you can see this one was about 6 points over here. Let's see, so then it came down and it touched the support. So this again is what today was almost a perfect tutorial of how this is supposed to work. So we fulfilled an acceleration down, we touched on support. Once you touch support, you expect some kind of consolidation or bounce. So as Slim mentioned, on the 2-hour, which right now feels to be for short-term traders, the more dominant time frame we have, for us, we have a positive Slim ribbon, and we also have a positive reversal scout. I'm going to pull that over here so everybody can see. We provide this for our level 2 members in the daily snapshot each day, where you can get a sense of these. That's not the one, it's this one here. So this is the SPX. This is what we take a snapshot of each day. And you can see, if I zoom in here, that we had the Slim ribbon turn positive. This was on 5/18. And we had the reversal scout, who, when you have an alignment, that gives you even a higher probability. And then pulled back here a little bit, but it's been positive both in alignment. Now we're consolidating into this resistance zone that we've identified. So that's how we could look at the 2-hour as help once in a while in terms of the overall strength. Okay, now I'm going to move over into the NDX here. And you can see here that we had the reversal scout that closed negative. This isn't necessarily a signal indicator. This is, again, more for your bias. What should I be long? Should I be short? Where should the prudent direction be? That doesn't mean you can't be long. I mean, there's times when you might have the reversal scout negative and we might be close to a trigger line on the upside, the resistance that gets violated, and you'll have the breakout into the resistance zone or the acceleration zone happen before the reversal scout will turn. That does happen, but this is a great guide to give you a sense of what your bias would be. You can see here that 11:45 on, it was Friday last week, it turned positive, and that really carried through. So today we violated the first acceleration zone. We filled the whole one. And then we got into the second one. We fulfilled that one all the way through, maybe 98% of it. And then we rallied. And then at the end of the day, we violated. You can see that we got just in that little bar. So this was probably about 8 minutes. Well, it's a 15-minute bar. But you had in that last probably 10 minutes, a real thrust. So we got 30 and another 30. So almost 30 points quickly. And that's the purpose of this analysis, is to try to capture those areas of high probability where you're going to get a movement in an impulse move in one direction or the other, and then also to give you a sense of other areas such as support and resistance where things are going to change. You can use that to help with targets. You're the pilots. We give you the parameters to help, but at the end of the day, you fly the plane. A couple other pieces on here. So when you get it, same as the support areas, resistance areas, I talked about this, that we consider these to be consolidation. When you have a positive reversal scout, if we get into some resistance, there's a higher probability that we could get through it when it's pink. If it's negative, then it's likely that you would struggle more in there, and it only makes sense. On the top anchor here and then the bottom, what we have are the key intraday resistance levels or support zones. The intent of this information is that if we get into these areas intraday, that there's a high probability of failure, that when you enter into this area, that during the day, unless we're in the last 10, 15 minutes or so, that there will be reversal out of that area. So if we're on the upside and that happens, the expectation is, based on the work that we've done, is that you would reverse out of there. The same on the key intraday support. And for more shorter term traders, those are looking for possible pivot points in the short term. These can be helpful because when you get into here, that may indicate that a near-term move is ready to shift. Okay, that's a general overview. I'm just going to pull over to wrap this up here. The usability guide, this is on the website. It is available in the daily snapshot area. I try to move it up once a week so that it's always in the top 10 or so recent daily snapshot posts. If you click on it, it'll open up. It'll show you the overview, a lot of the similar information that I covered. There is a legend here with the different colorations. Now, we haven't had, when we break out the new highs, which could happen here in the NASDAQ soon, if you see these aqua color, lighter blue colors, it means that we are now using fib extension levels because there's no more price levels to use for the resistance. Okay, and then there is also a video right here. So I may upload today's video as another walkthrough example, depending on the questions that we get. Okay, that's it. Happy to go over any questions that we have on this. Let's see. So we'll come back to the projection oscillator here in just a second. Looks like we have someone asked, how would a trader correlate the SIR with the 2-hour ribbon? Okay, I'll come back to that one in just a second. Let's see, when the reversal scout is green and crosses over a green breakout acceleration, it's hard to see. Would you consider changing the reversal scout color from green to blue or something like that? Yeah, I'll mark that one down. And what I plan on doing here in the next couple weeks is I want to have a session with those enthusiasts that use this on a very regular basis to talk out some potential adjustments to the sort of convenience aspects, such as that. Another one, and maybe even right here, right now, we can get a show of hands. How many of you, I want to improve the delivery in terms of the timing. It's very difficult to get this out before, say, 8:20, but I could save a few minutes if I didn't have to label the key. Maybe I would keep just the anchors here, but the breakout levels and breakdown levels, obviously we keep all the coloring, the intraday resistance, the numbers. But by a raise of hands, how many of you would say it's okay, once you understand what these mean, to remove these labels so I could get this out 5 to 10 minutes earlier? So it looks like a lot of you would think that's okay. Good, excellent. Well, I may test this. So you may see this by the end of the week where I remove that and see if I can get this out 5 to 10 minutes earlier. Okay, great. Someone asked, are these archived for studying the past? Yes, we do archive these. And I would say in the next couple weeks, the goal is to be able to put into the daily snapshot, create a resource area that not only has the usability guide, but also has a way for you to look at the screenshots that I take each day of the results. Joseph says, make a generic legend box that would stay the same each day. Yeah, the question, Joseph, would be, I got to be able to put it somewhere. And if you have any suggestions, feel free to email me some thoughts on that. All right, so we talked about this one from green to blue. I'm just going to mark that down. Okay, how would a trader correlate the SRI with the 2-hour? I talked about that a little bit. So what we put on here right now, this is what we focus on is the analysis information indicators that have the highest probability of information. So we take a systematic approach to making any tweaks. Obviously, I want to hear from our members if they've found other ways, if they want to share enhancements to this, we're open to hearing what those could be. So the 2-hour is something that we're looking at, seeing how that could be utilized. It would be if it could be utilized on here, or if it would be a different view, stream that we would share. So we are thinking that through. I would suggest if you're looking at the 2-hour, that you could, again, what we share is for informational purposes. Obviously, you make your own decisions, but it could be help with your decisions around position size. So that's just one way to look at it.
I just want to add something in there, Matt.
Yep.
I showed the 2-hour chart on the S&P 500 and the momentum in there. So when I look at the 2-hour chart, and when like in this case, looking at you can put that back.
Yeah,
up.
That's a great point. Should I show the NDX versus the RUT here?
Yeah. So here's the NDX, and you could see that this is it's bullish. I mean, you could see everything in there looks bullish as you have momentum on the strong side. Now, if you look at what the NASDAQ did today, it was in line with this.
Right.
So if you look at the Russell now.
Yep. I'll switch it over to Russell.
Switch it over to the Russell.
Yep.
You can see in here the Russell was actually giving you a weaker reading.
Right. A reversal scout on the 2-hour has been negative since 529.
So when you look at that, it says to you that you could expect that the Russell would underperform the NASDAQ because the longer time frame is dominant, and that gives you a sense that you should expect that if you're looking at if you're looking to buy or sell, which index you would expect to underperform or overperform, that would be greatly affected by the 2-hour information.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Yep. And then also the resistance, you can see the resistance levels that we indicate, I think, is another helpful tool from that more dominant, in this case, longer term picture. Okay.
So I want to make a point, and that is that we're always, I mean, literally every day looking at how to give you more information for your trade planning. And so we're looking at this and looking at, well, how do we give you more information? How do we give you the information we just showed you? And we're working in that every day with our technical guy and trying to really work towards you having all of that information at your fingertips that we just showed you. So Matt, would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, we want to be able to deliver more of these pictures for you during the day. We just got to figure out the technology, which ones. Also, again, at the end of the day, it's not about just providing more. It's about which ones provide you with the highest probability information without overwhelming the charts, the senses, and so on. And so that's right now where we've settled in on this. And for the most part, from what we get back and from the observations, very high probability of opportunities, multiple opportunities throughout the day that our members find with this information.
That's an excellent point. Not to give you data overload, and to give you, in this case, what is a day trader or intraday trader information that is pretty simple to see.